Hi everyone, now I am continuing with my lecture session. Already in my previous session we have seen the two-force system theorem. So now again I am just recalling that same theorem in this lecture video in order to solve the cases and the different numericals. Okay, when there are two forces acting at certain point. So here you can see there are two forces acting at one particular point. You will be having the resultant R formula, and you will be having the direction of the resultant force, that is like theta formula also we have been seeing in the previous derivation, right? So the formula for resultant force you have seen the P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha, right? And theta is equal to tan inverse of Q sin alpha by P plus Q sin alpha. Right, with respect to the previous figure we have written this R and theta formula. Right, so we will be seeing about actually we have seen about the two forces theorem in the previous video, and now we are going to see about the triangle law and the polygonal law. Triangle law means if there are three forces acting at certain point and that three forces are in equilibrium position, and you can make it as a single closed triangle. Means for example you can assume three forces and different directions, right? So the F1 seems to be in the horizontal direction, so the same F1, and without changing their inclination and the magnitude direction we can make it into a single triangle, right? So that is called as a triangular law. This is applicable only in the case of when all the forces are in equilibrium position. And the next one is polygonal law. Polygonal law means if you find more than three forces, right? In one system if you are finding more forces and everything it is in equilibrium position, and you can even form a closed polygon, like when see the tip to tail arrangement you can see in this next figure, second figure you can see, without changing their direction and even the magnitude you can make a closed polygonal, right? So that is called as polygonal law. Alright, the next one I am going to teach is the moment of a force. What is said as moment? It's nothing but the turning effect of a force. So here you can see a person is having the screwdriver in his hand, right? See, he is like just pulling in one direction. This is force, and the distance from the net to handling that particular screw is the distance d. So the force will be force, like you can see the moment will be force into distance. You can see the force is in one direction and the distance is the perpendicular distance from force F, right? So the moment is nothing but force into perpendicular distance from the turning point to the line of action of the force. So you can see the turning point of the turning point, and the line of action is like where he is pulling that screw. So F like moment is nothing but F into D, and the unit of moment is, see, for force we know that it's Newton and for distance it is meter, so together it's Newton meter, and it is we have two different directions or rotations for this moment. One is clockwise and another one is anti-clockwise, right? So we can take the moment of the force unit as Newton mm or even Newton meter. It's nothing but the turning effect, and it also the formula for moment is F into D. Okay. So the next topic is force couples. Force couples means, so here in this figure I have given a beam. Okay, this beam is having it starts from A point and hence in the B point, and the distance between this A to B is D. Okay, and you can see a force in A point and a force in B point, but these two forces are in opposite directions, right? But it is having same magnitude, but it is being separated by definite distance. So this is said as couple. When you can see two forces having same magnitude and parallel in the orientation, but it is in the opposite direction, it is said as a couple. In this situation, the sum of forces, if you sum these two forces, what will happen? For example, if this is 10 kilonewton, you can see a downward force and an upward force. So together the summation will become 0. So the couple will it is having the translatory translatory effect as 0. Translatory effect is nothing but the summation of the forces, and the next one is the rotational effect. But you can turn this into, like for example, you can turn it into a clockwise direction, this is like anti-clockwise direction, or even clockwise is possible with this, right? So you can rotate the body, but the summation will be becoming 0 for couple. Okay, so I have a few characteristics of couple. That is, a couple will be like having two forces of same magnitude, parallel in direction but opposite in parallel in magnitude, like opposite in direction, and separated by a definite distance. The translatory effect of the force will be 0, couple will be 0, but the rotational effect will be force into perpendicular distance, and a couple will be balanced by only by an equal another couple, by only by an equivalent couple. Okay, so when a couple is said to be equivalent when the two couples are having same forces, definite distance, right? But it can be balanced only by another couple, right? So now I will be explaining about Varignon's theorem. Varignon's theorem, also said as principle of moment theorem, right? So principle of moment theorem is nothing but, see in the figure you can see from the start point there are forces F1 and F2 and a resultant force R, or it's, you can just mention it as simply F. Okay, the sum of moments of all forces about a point is equal to the moment of the resultant force about the same point. So the principle of moment says that the sum of moment of all the forces which you are observing in the figure, which is equal to the moment of the resultant force. See, you can observe a resultant force of F and the sum of like other forces F1 and F2. So the sum of moments of this F1 and F2 is equal to the resultant force moment. So this is the statement of this Varignon's theorem. So now we shall see how to resolve this theorem. So we need to consider a force F acting at a point A, and it is having the components F1 and F2 are the other two forces, and we can choose the point O, okay, lying in the plane, and you can even just name it as a moment center and just drop a perpendicular line D, D1, D2. See, this D is for the resultant force F, and D1 for force F1 and D2 for force F2 respectively. Okay, now you can just see for every force will be having some inclinations. For example, F is having the inclination of alpha and F1 is alpha 1 and F2 is alpha 2. That distance you can take it as F. See, also the horizontal distance you can consider as F suffix x, F suffix x1 and F suffix x2. Right. So the moment of force F about O is F into D. That is, D is nothing but OA cos alpha. Okay, OA cos alpha is nothing but, see, F cos alpha is nothing but x component, that is fx, right? Fy means f sin alpha. We knew it already in the composition and resolution of forces. The same thing we are just applying for the force F, for the force F1 and the force F2. Okay, finally we are getting like three equations like this, and by adding the second and third equation you will get F1 d1 plus F2 d2 is equal to OA into fx1 plus fx2. See, this is nothing but OA into fx. OA into fx is F into D. So finally you can prove it. F into D is equal to F1 d1 plus F2 d2, means the moment of the resultant force is equal to sum of the moment of other two forces. So it has been proved, right? So now we can see about how to find the resultant of the force. Okay, using, see, for example, you can see a question figure like this, and in this figure you can see four forces F1, F2, F3 and F4 having varying inclinations. You can see in this, right? So the same thing I am just drawing FBD. FBD is nothing but free body diagram for this particular given figure. Okay, free body diagram means like for the F1 force you need to resolve it. If you resolve the F1 you will get F1 cos theta and F1 sin theta, means F of x component and F of y component, right? So just take it and just resolve it, and the sign we are taking with respect to the